Alright, welcome back guys, if welcome to your first time here. I'm Vision here, Born Entertainment, bringing you guys another video. Today I'm giving you guys my review for Fear the Walking Dead Season 6, Episode 16, The Beginning. Now, if Fear the Walking Dead is something you're interested in, don't forget to hit the subscribe button down below, hit that bell icon, then I miss some more Fear the Walking Dead content from me, moving forward. Now let's begin. So we are officially at the finale, and there are multiple different storylines here regarding different characters, and I'm pretty much just going to break each character story down and go over them kind of separately. Now first we got Rachel's story. Now this one kind of confused me, as she's off by herself with her baby in the middle of scenic nowhere pretty much, and she got separated from the groups I guess, and is trying to get back to them, trying to get back to Morgan. And in the midst of she ends up in a car trying to get it to work. The tire falls off and she is unable to drive. And in the midst of that, I guess she gets hurt with the tire or whatever, hitting her, breaking her leg or something. So she tries to take her baby, Morgan, and head off on foot to try to get back to the rest of our group. However, due to her injury, she's not really able to go that far and ends up collapsing in the middle of the road. And she commits suicide and I guess ties herself to Rufus in hopes that he'll bring her zombified body and the baby to Morgan so that the baby has a chance to survive. I guess it's really weird and confusing. From what I understand, this is also like a ripoff of something else that happened in another zombie related show. I never seen that, so I'm not gonna take off points for that, but this just seemed weird. So like I don't totally understand like the concept here, but it was meh. It wasn't terrible, but it was just meh. Then I'm gonna move over to Dwight and Sherry storyline. Now they separated from the group again. I don't understand why our group split up. Most of I guess do stuff with next season storyline. But they're split up. They end up wanting to go out, just the two of them, I guess, and end up finding a home and try to go and want to just go out the same way they wanted to reunite with beer and pretzels. They end up finding, like I said, they end up finding this house. They think it's unoccupied, but they end up finding this family there. And the family tells them that, look, we saw everything going on. We have a bunker. We were trying to get there, but some of the members from the Doomsday cult ended up there and stole it. So they ask Sherry and Dwight for help and in reclaiming their bunker and tell them that they can stay there with them. So Dwight and Sherry help them. They confront a cultist who survives and realize that he's pretty much scared about the end of the world happening. And, Dwight and Sherry pretty much leave him for dead and join the family in that bunker. Now that was really cool. I like the storyline, and I'm very interested to see what will happen to Dwight and Sherry with this family next season. I wonder if it'll have some kind of setup and maybe they end up having their own family, starting their own family. Maybe the kids' parents die and they have to take care of it. I don't know, that kind of feels this copying of what happened with baby Morgan. So that would kind of annoy me, but at the same time, it would be something interesting to see Dwight and Sherry do. Given their history, I think it'd be cool to see them actually raise a kid or have this relationship with a kid. I think that'd be something interesting to see that happen to the two of them. But that's pretty much how they end. Their bunker door was destroyed, so they have to kind of, ricochet a kind of way to shut the bunker door to protect themselves. Then we move on to June and John and JD's storyline. Now the two of them end up confronting Teddy and Dakota, who have pretty much like front row seats to the end of the world, as Teddy says it. Now they go there. Now JD and June, for reasons I have no idea, forgive Dakota for killing John Dory. Now this just feels like, why? This kid killed your husband and son and you're forgiving him. I get like this is the end of the world, you're thinking the world's gonna end. It just doesn't make any sense though. Why would you forgive someone for killing your husband and son? It felt contrived. It just felt stupid. I understand me wanting to save Dakota, but at the same time, like, she's too far gone at this point. They end up having a standoff there. And in the midst of the standoff, you got JD, who discovers that Teddy had a hidden bunker there, and pretty much reveals to Dakota that he's not there for Dakota as much as Teddy tries to tell her, look, I care about you, I understand you. The two of us, we're similar. But JD pretty much tells her Teddy's just using her, and he needs two people to turn the keys to, you know, shoot off more of the warheads, and he's just using her so he can get his goal and go back to the sub and do what he had planned. At which point Dakota pretty much hits a breaking point and threatens to kill them all, and is pretty much on a mental breakdown. You got JD and June, who decide to just abandon them and go into the bunkers, realizing that Dakota's too far gone and don't want to save Teddy, of course. So at that point, you got Dakota holding him at gunpoint, angry and I guess confused in the middle of her mental breakdown. She ends up shooting and killing Teddy. Now this really pissed me off because I'm like, what? I feel like JD should have had the rights to kill Teddy, but you get this kid who kills him instead. It just comes off as like, what? I will say this much: I'm glad they didn't like try to redeem Dakota like they did with Charlie, because again, I feel like that would have been, kind of copying what has already been done. So I'm really glad that they didn't go down that route. I just wish that JD would have been the one to kill Teddy instead of her. It would have made more sense. Like, I just feel like he should have just shot Teddy and just left Dakota there to pretty much have her mental breakdown. Like, I didn't really like that. So I definitely have to take off points there, because it just felt stupid for them to forgive Dakota and Teddy being killed by Dakota. I didn't really like that. I really liked the Dwight and Sherry stuff, but this really just annoyed me. But then you got the stuff regarding Daniel and the rest of the group, which includes Sarah, Wes, Charlie, and Rabbi Jacobs. So you got the group there, along with Raleigh, who brings back Riley, who he says they kidnapped, and Riley says that they know where Alicia is, and they can head to the bunker to all be safe. And while they're on their way to the bunker, you got they end up crashing and killing due to a walker. Now they end up having to change the tire with Sarah's help. Meanwhile, you got the rest of the group fighting off zombies. Now, Daniel and Charlie remain in the truck, and you got Riley, who mentions how, don't worry, we'll rise again, like, I guess like the phoenix rising out of the ashes. And you got Daniel, who ends up going out to see what's going on with the rest of the group. They pretty much dispatch the walkers, and Sarah fixes the tires, and they all head back out. However, as they're heading back into the truck and ready to go, you got Raleigh, who pretty much says the same line as Riley, and pretty much reveals that he's a spy and part of the cult, at which point Daniel executes him on the spot. And it reveals that he was a spy back in, I think it was episode 10, that made Daniel think it was like going insane. It was him that was doing all that stuff, and pretty much tells the group that, look, that's what happened, that's why I killed him, because they were shocked. And then you got Riley, who goes to attack Daniel and is shot by Charlie to protect him. And he pretty much, confesses, yeah, Riley betrayed you guys after he saw what happened at their old settlement, and reveals that they weren't taking him to the motel. They were taking him to, similar to Teddy and Dakota, have a front row seat to the end of the world. At which point Daniel mentions that because at the beginning of their storyline, Daniel mentions that he heard coordinates that they should go to for safety, but pretty much the rest of the group doubted him after what happened in episode 10. Now, following what happened with Raleigh and Riley, they realize, look, let's follow those coordinates. Maybe there is some place safe that we can go to ride this out. So they end up heading there. They end up arriving at the spot, and they end up feeling like it's nothing. They realize it's like an abandoned area. Feel like there's nothing. However, you got a CRM helicopter arriving soon after with Althea and I guess Isabel. It wasn't confirmed. I think maybe later on in the Talking Dead it was confirmed it was Isabel. I'm not sure, but either way, I'm assuming it was her. Arrive and pick up the group and take them off to safety. And they pretty much leave Riley there to die, who he ends up reanimated afterwards. I did like how you got Les, who writes the end is not the beginning or whatever before he took off. That was pretty cool. Then you got Strand storyline. Now, Strand, again, is off. He pretty much, is wants to, go off on himself, and he ends up finding this old abandoned, like, I guess office buildings type area, and he ends up meeting this guy Howard. And Howard, I guess, was this historian at this building. He pretty much collected a bunch of history items because he felt like, even though the world ended, you want to preserve history. Now, there's a lot of people saying, I don't like Howard. I feel like, personally, Howard could be an interesting character. I just feel like it's only one episode, so there's a lot of more potential. Just because he wasn't an interesting character here doesn't mean he can't be a better character moving forward. But Strand pretty much introduces himself. He says he's Morgan, and kind of tells the story of what happened at the submarine to Howard. Pretty much saying that, and pretty much tells him, pretends to be Morgan to Howard, which is a very interesting aspect from Strand. Definitely going along with the Strand-esque character. So I really like that. Meanwhile, you got Morgan and Grace back at the sub. Now, you got Morgan and Grace who pretty much decide to do a suicide pact. Now, I feel like this was a callback to the comics with Tyrese's daughter and her boyfriend. For those who don't read the comics, Tyrese had a daughter who had a boyfriend in the comics, and they pretty much had a suicide pact and went through with it. Now, that didn't really happen here, but I do feel like they kind of were paying homage to that since it didn't happen in the actual show. However, they don't commit suicide as they hear the cry of a baby, and it's Rufus who arrives at the sub with a zombified Rachel and the baby. And you got Morgan who takes the baby for safety and puts down Rachel. And at that point, you got the bombs who officially drop, and the two of them, for some unknown reason, hide under a car for protection. I don't understand why they didn't go back into the sub. I guess I don't understand that. That was stupid, taking off points there. But you got the bombs who go off, and it kind of shows everybody's character from that perspective, what's going on there, which is cool. I like that. You do get a scene at the hotel. Now, I know a lot of people are asking, like, where is Alicia in this episode? If you look it up, and it was pretty much revealed that I guess she traveled back to, I think it was Australia or New Zealand. I know lives in that area, I think. And I guess due to COVID restrictions, she wasn't able to get back to film for the final episode. So that's why we didn't get her. I think it would have been interesting to see her, but at the same time, I understand she didn't really need to be seen in this episode. I feel like it was better off to just focus on the rest of our group here. That's beside the point at this point, but you got two of them who pretty much survey the area. It's covered in radiation, smoke, and everything, and it pretty much ends their story just standing around in the middle of nowhere, watching, pretty much taking in everything that happened. Meanwhile, you got Strand who somehow avoided the bombs, and the whole area where he is pretty much safe. There's no radiation at all. Him and Howard have been spared, so I guess. And he pretty much reveals to Howard that, he's not Morgan, he's Victor Strand, because he told him what happened at the sub, and said that he was the better man, not the bad guy Victor. But you got him who tells him, look, we got spared. He sees this as an opportunity. He's gonna take it, and this is his beginning. The end of the world for him is this new beginning, and he pretty much tells Howard, I'm gonna take control. This is my time. So I feel like they're setting up Strand to be the next villain of the season, which is pretty cool and interesting. Strand is a very interesting character, so making him the villain definitely has some interesting aspects. So I'm very curious to see what they do with his character next season. All in all, I'd say this was an okay finale. Rachel stuff didn't make any sense, so I didn't really like that. Dwight's story was pretty good. Really liked the stuff there. June and Charlie and JD with Teddy and Dakota just felt stupid in some areas, and Dakota killing Teddy and not JD annoyed me. So definitely taking off points there. I really did like the stuff with Daniel and his group. Really great stuff there. And then you got Morgan stuff. I like the paying homage stuff. Them hiding under the truck definitely was stupid. But I really did like the ending with Strand setting up for him to be the next villain. So really solid episode. Well, I wouldn't say it's a solid episode, but it was an okay season finale. If I had to give this episode a grade, I don't know. I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10. I feel like yes, there were some negatives, but the positives were well enough done. So I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10. So, an okay finale. Could have been better, but just okay. But let me know your thoughts and opinions about the season finale in the comment section down below. Yeah, guys, that's my review of Fear the Walking Dead Season 6, Episode 16, the beginning. As always, if you like this video, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up and share. Don't forget to hit subscribe button down below. Hit that bell icon. That I miss more Fear the Walking Dead content from me moving forward. And you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter, which is linked in the that section on my YouTube channel. As always, been Vision Hero Boy Entertainment, and I'll see you next time.